This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Duane is with David Pugh, owner of Southern Traxx Veterinary Services.
Duane Toews joining you once again on Ag AM in Kansas, and a chance to catch up with David Pugh with Southern Traxx out of Alabama. David, we think about internal parasites in beef cattle in particular at this particular conference that we happen to attend. Really, they are a profit robber, but you don't see it because it's not visible.
Well, parasitism in Alabama is ubiquitous everywhere. Here in Kansas, the diseases everywhere, inter-parasitic diseases, are local. They're like politics. And so parts of this state, you're going to have very, very few parasite problems. In other parts, you have a lot of problems. In adult cows, it's the one that people talked about for years was Ostertagia. It's still there. More of a problem in certain areas. But in young calves, we have used really, really good dewormers for a really long time. You know, we've had Ivermectin since the late 70s. And parasites literally adapt to improvise and overcome. They figure out how to beat the dewormer. So the more often you deworm, the more likely you are to see problems. And in our younger calves don't have good immunity yet or have not accrued the immunity to Haemonchus or Ostertagia. Haemonchus or carte. Those two parasites are really robbers of potential growth and feed efficiency. In animals that are inappropriately dewormed. Is that fair?
So talk about a little bit of how we avoid those situations where we have some of those parasites that are developing resistance. What does a producer do to try to evade that problem?
Well, one is don't just deworm unless you have if you don't have a problem, you would minimize your deworming. We even in the Southeast we recommend in adult cows not deworming cattle on a 1 to 9 body condition score if they're over 4 years of age and over 5 condition score. We don't recommend deworming them unless they got ear in them. If they got a little Brahma in them, they're going to have parasite problems because they're genetically superior for external parasites but inferior for internal parasites. And so we're going to recommend not deworming everybody but just the one in need. So lower than 5 body condition score on anything over 4 years of age need to be dewormed. All calves up to probably a year and a half, sometimes 2 years of old, should be dewormed. And it depends on once a year or twice a year. And I would get something that would control specifically Haemonchus and Ostertagia. And right now, where I live in Alabama, and I would bet a Coca-Cola is similar here, although less of a problem here, that's going to be a white wormer. And you've got 3 choices there. You've got Panicure Safeguard, Valbasin, which is made by Zoetis, and Synatic. And those are real similar dewormers. Those will control most of the time those 2 parasites in younger calves. And then the other one of the macrocytic lactones, there's 2 sides to that family. And I think a lot of companies argue about it, but you go to real parasitologists and they're going to say, no, there's 2 sides. There's an abamectin and an avermectin side. And the avermectin side right now, where I live, has poor efficacy against cupira and Haemonchus. So we're going to pick somebody abamectin side. And right now that's sidectin. And so epinectin, Dectomax, and ivermectin are less good choices for young calf deworming where I live.
We're talking about the situation, a lot of humidity, a lot of wet grass. We had more of that this year in Kansas than we've ever had with the kind of moisture and rainfall that we had early on and in pasture settings. Likely has set some of those calves up for a fairly high incidence of infection.
Yeah. Well, a couple ways you could check is to do fecal flotations. Another is you go with body condition score and just deworm. But most of my calves in scenarios where we've had humidity and good grass growth and some temperatures that are conducive for parasitism, I'm going to deworm all my young weanling calves. I'm going to pick something again that would control those 2 specific parasites. And I'd work closely with my local veterinarian. I'd work closely with my diagnostic lab. I got a great diagnostic lab system here in Kansas, at Kansas State, and a phenomenal one. And you got good parasitologists. And so I'd work with all those people and the Cooperative Extension Service. Dr. Topoff, who I've met, those people together, he's free. and those people together build me a program and try to aim my dewormer that is effective against the parasites that would be causing most weight loss and poor gain in younger animals. I'd aim my dewormer at that. In other words, I wouldn't just carte blanche use a cheap dewormer. I wouldn't base my deworm program because of price, because that doesn't make sense. You want to get something that will meet the deworm, that will meet the parasite and kill him dead. You don't want to live in harmony with him. I want to kill them all if I can, and that's just the way I work.
All right, thanks to David Pugh joining us here on Ag AM in Kansas. Jamie, we'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Duane. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.